Hello everyone and welcome back to another very exciting episode of Carmella's Corner. As you can see, today's episode is very exciting because we're in a different location than usual.
Where's the sign?
The sign is back at our other location, our typical filming location. So
No, we need a graphic.
that
That's
perfect.
Good.
See?
You know
there
what
we
though?
go.
We're really not in Carmella's Corner right now.
We're not.
Really at Frank's Fireplace.
There it goes.
Like it.
Perfect.
Let's hope it works.
Well, I'll figure something out. Well, as I should probably introduce our guest for this episode, although I don't think he needs much introduction. If you're already watching this video, I'm sure you probably already know who Frank is, but I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Yes.
So I'm Frank. I'm the guy who created Anthony Claus. Yeah. People always ask, where did this come from? And I have no idea. Things just pop into our heads, and then they end up being a 2-hour play. So Anthony Claus is a character I used to play at Christmas parties as part of my stand-up career. And he was just this, wise-ass, cigar-smoking, ball-busting. We can say that.
Yeah, why not?
It's not cable, right?
No.
Where are we? Anyway.
The internet.
And I would just go in and I would, make fun of people and do little Christmas jokes and stuff. But Anthony is the not so little brother of Santa Claus, Santino Clausini. This whole backstory developed where, he's jealous of his older brother because he got the family business, which is, of course, being Santa. And over the years, I did this for, like 10, 15 years probably. He developed more of a backstory. So he got a wife, he had Carmella. And then he got a mother-in-law, Carmella Sr. And then kids, Sonny and Holly. And like the whole thing developed. He lived in a raised ranch in North Providence.
Now there's a whole lore.
Yeah, his mother-in-law lived in the basement because that's kind of the rule. So at some point, I said, you know what, this is a bigger story than just somebody going in and busting chops at Christmas, for Christmas parties. And I sat down and I started writing the script. And I was working with my friends Connie and Mark Anderson at Theater Works at the time. And I said, hey, I got this idea for a play. Can we do it for Christmas? And they never saw the script. And they said, yeah, that sounds great.
Why not? Yeah.
Okay, thanks Connie and Mark. We did it, and you know what? It really went over well. I'm not overselling it. People loved it, a lot of laughs. And in the middle of it, I said, you know what? There's a sequel here. So I started writing Anthony Claus 2, a dysfunctional family sequel. Very clever titles.
Might have seen that one last year.
Very proud of that title. So I wrote that, and we did it again at Theater Works. And in the middle of that, I said, there's a spin-off here. And that's where Christmas Carmella came from. So I saw the grandma, who became a much bigger character
than she was intended.
She was in the first one. Like in the second show, and this was not intended, this is what happens when you start writing. She became a much bigger character. She became kind of the central character, and everybody else was a bit player. So I said, I'm going to let her tell a Christmas carol, but she doesn't have the book, so she's going to have to make stuff up. So we did that, and it went over really, really well. So that was 2013, and then 2014 really didn't happen. That's when Anthony Claus 3, A Dysfunctional North Pole, was
Other than the
produced.
fact that was the first Anthony show that I was a part of, Frank.
The failure of it had nothing to do with you. I've known this person since she was, 5?
Give or take.
I'm old. In case you hadn't figured that out from the white beard, which, thank you, God. Now I don't have to put so much in my beard when I play,
the paint.
That guy in red. We'll talk about that later. I made the mistake of playing Anthony, which you can't do. And it's a lesson learned. You cannot play a character that you created in a show that you've written and you're directing
It's a lot.
Because you know, you're sitting there and you're delivering a line to somebody and they give you their line back. And in my head, I'm not going to my next line. I'm going, oh, I don't really like that. I want to change that line. Nothing necessarily to do with the actor, because I mean, you know how our process is.
Just
stuff
always
changes all the time. I mean, right now we have a script that's 10 pages different than it was when we started. So anyway, we won't do that again. We don't need to belabor it, but you will not see Anthony Claus 3 unless I write it entirely.
Unless there's a new Annie 3, right. Yeah. True.
So here we are now. We did a whole series at Theater Works, and then Theater Works dissolved. So that left us with a place to play. An Academy had come along. I was doing stuff with them, and I said, hey, I got this Christmas show. And they said, sure. They didn't read it. They didn't know it, but we did it. So we did 1 and 2 there, and then they had some construction going on. They redid the theater. So we did Anthony 1 in Bristol, at Bristol the Theater Company, which unfortunately does not exist any longer. And then the pandemic happened.
Right.
So we had a couple of years off where nobody could do anything, unfortunately. But then when things were back to normal, we decided, let's do Anthony 2. And Academy was available again, so we did Anthony 2 last year, and it went really well. Mostly new cast, a lot of new people, lots of very, very talented people, and we added a new Carmella. So Paula Faber took over from Connie Anderson. Connie decided that she needed some downtime. She effectively is retired from acting. Otherwise she'd be back. But Paula replaced her and brought a whole new dimension to
these
Carmella.
People have already met Paula. Luckily,
right.
In our very first episode, you were able to see how amazing she is, even just off stage. She's got a great energy that she brings to the room. And
she's someone that I met in acting class. She and I took some classes together with Fred Sullivan, and we got to work together. We did a scene from Taming of the Shrew. Neither of us in the right age range, so if it were ever produced, we wouldn't be in it, but it was a lot of fun. She was so much fun, and she's such a professional. She truly is. So she's brought a whole new dimension to Carmella. It's different. It's not better. It's different from what Connie did. And so we have Bobby back. Bobby's been Anthony now for I think this is his 5th show as Anthony.
Yeah, he said I think 6 or 7 now.
Yeah, and John is back. John only missed 1. He didn't do the show with us in Bristol. This year, I rewrote it. So the first couple of times we did it, a lot of the characters from Anthony Claus were not there. So Anthony wasn't there, Carmella wasn't there, Benny Blue Balls.
Bruno was
just, he played Bob Cacciatore, but not as Bruno.
Right.
So this year I said, you know what, I want to do something a little different. So I added the characters back. So Anthony now is helping his mother-in-law tell the story, so he's Scroogini. We had to make this all North Providence, by the way. We'll talk about the North Providence thing in a bit. Carmella Jr. is playing a bunch of roles, and oh my God, Christina Myers just makes me roar, and I cannot wait for people to see. I can't wait for people to see this anyway. But we put Benny Blue Balls back because Benny is such a popular character.
Oh yeah.
It's like I can't tell you how many people say, "Was Benny in this?" It's like yeah, Benny's in it. So no, Benny's in this one. Did you talk about you getting on stage yet?
By the time they see this, they will have known that yes, I am joining on stage. I didn't reveal to what capacity because that's a spoiler. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but.
This one has been she was my assistant director last year. She's the co-director this year. So it shouldn't have a lot more responsibility because I'm very controlling. I don't know if not true, she's doing a lot. But she's also playing a part. That's all you need to know. So she has her moment on stage. That's like a 10-minute scene too.
It's evolved into more than we thought it was going to be when you first asked me, because which it's fine and it's fun.
Did you ask any questions yet?
I technically haven't asked any questions, but I mean, you've been answering all of the questions that people want to know the answers to. Let's talk a little bit about like A Christmas Carmella if people haven't seen it before. We talked a little bit about how it's different than before, but talk to everyone a little bit about the writing process, like parodying this classic
So
tale.
everybody knows A Christmas Carol.
Of course.
Mostly. Or
Almost everybody.
A Carol for Christmas, as Sonny says. What is happening is the kids decide that they want to hear Grandma tell them the story because she's told it to them as they grew up. But she doesn't have the book anymore. So they're a little disappointed because, you know what, I can remember it. I'll tell the story. So she pulls in Carmella Jr. and Anthony and says, you're going to help. So it becomes a story of Scroogini because, you know, he and his partner, Jake Marley, have an office on Mineral Spring Avenue, of course. I'm not Italian. I don't know if you figured that out, O'Donnell. Not a typical Italian name, but my wife is. So that means I have Italian in-laws. So I learned when we first started dating about Christmas Eve and how more important it is, apparently, than Christmas. And they have the Feast of the Seven Fishes, and most of which I don't eat, I'm sorry, but you know, there's too much. Some of the stuff I do, like when they have shrimp, I'll eat that, and some of the other stuff I've gotten acclimated to. But anyway, so that whole idea of Christmas Eve, and Carmella Sr. is basically my mother-in-law. So my mother-in-law, Anna, the best part is, like the first time we did Andy Claus, Karen took her mother to see the show. And Connie came out, and she's got a wig on, and there's a great picture
and a wooden
out
spoon.
there. Connie came out, and she did her stuff, and you know, she's got a box full of Italian Tupperware, giving people leftovers. Italian Tupperware, for those of you who don't know, anything that you have in the house that you can put food in. So like old Chinese food containers, ricotta containers, and by the way, that's the way you say it. It's not ricotta, it's ricotta. And Karen said, Ma, do you recognize her? And my mother-in-law said, yeah, that's Connie. She said, no, Ma, that's you. And of course, my mother, in her classic response, said, your ass is out. That's my mother-in-law. So Anna inspired Carmella, and a lot of what you see there is her. So thanks, Anna. You gave us 3.5 shows. Let's say that. So she's telling the story, and it's all twisted up, and hilarity ensues. So what we're using for like a catchphrase is we're taking the Dickens classic and turning it on its head and cracking open its funny bone. And if you want to laugh, then you need to come and see the show.
You heard it from the man himself.
And if you don't want to laugh, go see Christmas Carol at Trinity. I'm sorry, I'm only kidding. I'm kidding. We're in town, so
it's a different show.
You know, it's entirely different. And for them, very different every year too. So,
yes.
You know, kudos.
We've already talked about some of the cast a little bit, but this year we have some people who are like splitting roles, some roles that like some people might see different versions of depending on what days they're coming. We have some characters that are only dropping in on certain nights where like it'll kind of be like if you happen to catch them. So
I mean, there are things that we have to stick to because there is a story here, but people can improvise.
Oh yeah.
And they do. And honestly, the show that you see on Thursday when we open may not be the same as the show you see on the Sunday when we close.
Yep.
So there's 7 shows, and they're all going to have something other than the cameo performers that didn't happen in other shows.
We have the Cardi brothers.
The Cardis are coming again. So shout out to the Cardis, because almost every year, I don't think we asked them in the first year, but every year since then, they have given us set pieces. So in this one, it's Carmella's rocker.
Which is so nice.
Yeah. But they've given us tables and chairs, they've given us benches, they've given us other rocking chairs, and then they let us keep them, and we raffle them off with the money from that going to Kerry's fund. So my daughter's memorial fund benefits from that. And these guys they're just amazing. They help promote the show. They've got me booked on one of on the road show. I'm pretty sure it is. So we'll be talking about that on the road show, but they put ads in the paper for us, sometimes ads on the radio. One year they did a billboard. I think that was for Heavenly Gingers, but they gave us a billboard in South Attleboro.
Yeah, right.
And it's just amazing. They're really
great.
Wonderful people. So last year I said, you know what?
Let's go on stage.
Let's see if they'll come on stage. And honestly,
it was so great.
First Pete said, really? I said, yeah, absolutely. And they were great. And so Pete and Ron came out. They were so funny. So they're going to come back this year and do something entirely different.
Heck yeah.
But it's okay to say that they're there. Last year it was a complete surprise. Nobody
Right,
knew they
it
were
was
coming.
totally on the down low. Yeah.
And when they popped up out of Benny's window, it's like people went nuts.
Lost it.
Oh,
It was
man.
great. That's a good question to ask. What's it like working with me, Frank, as your assistant?
All right,
not
all right.
assistant,
So-
I'm co-director.
All
I keep
right,
saying
so
that.
yes, you are. You're co-director. So here's the thing. It's like, for some bizarre reason, she thinks the way that I do. And Colleen, your mom, I apologize. That's not my fault. But she sees things that I might not see but should have seen, where, the same thing happens. But she's inside my head and I'm inside her head. So it's a very good symbiotic relationship.
It's true.
Look that up. It's great fun working with you. And I'm so glad that this thing popped into my head where I'm getting you on stage too. But this is one of those things, like Mike Montecalvo actually reached out to me in January and said, if you're doing it again, you got to let me know so that I can schedule. So
Because he wanted to be.
yeah, no, I mean they have fun, they really do, and they're part of the family now. So
Absolutely.
Barbie Jo is with us for the first time, but she'll be officially part of the family.
That's awesome.
Which will be great. And here's the best part. So Paula came up to me at rehearsal the other day and said, a friend of mine, somebody that I also know, had a great idea for the next Anthony Claus.
Oh.
And it might happen. People come and see them year after year anyway.
Right. People kind of know by now.
Yeah, so it's going to be different from what you've seen, but it doesn't make any difference. You love the characters. And really, I just, everybody's meshing. Everybody's gelling. So even the people who have smaller parts are just having a blast. And I mean, you saw at rehearsal the other night when we had all the Cacciatore kids there.
My gosh.
They were going nuts figuring out
There is truly
stuff.
never a dull moment. Even when it looks like there's like one thing happening on stage, there's probably 3 other people you could be watching doing something equally as funny that has nothing to do with the actual scene happening.
But it was great to watch them interact with each other.
Yeah.
Because they're in the background, and we have to give a shout out to Rita and Tom at
Yes,
Academy,
of course.
For letting us do this.
Yeah,
number
right.
one. Tom is our set guy, so he's in the process of building the set for us as we speak or as you watch or whatever. And Paula Fontaine.
Yes.
Is
all
our costume person. Nicole Barone is going to be painting the set for us, and she's going to help with hair and makeup. Carrie Geyer,
queen.
who it's funny because Carrie's a lot like me. She gets dragged into stuff
without realizing.
Well, because her kids are doing
right.
stuff, and that's really how I got started in theater. But Carrie is, we have Brianna in it this year, which this is her first year with us. Jaden.
It's not her first year with us.
Oh, that's
she
right.
Said that
she
last
did,
time. She
that's
did
right. She
a
did
few
the,
years ago. Her and I split apart.
That's right. The elf, right? The
disgruntled,
the disgruntled
mall
mall
elf.
elf. That's right. You're right. So this is her second.
But
time,
she is, yes.
She's got a pretty.
She has
good
a bigger
part
than last time.
and a grown-up part. It's another one that I've known since.
Yeah,
she was,
I know.
You guys, you're about the same age, right?
Yeah, she's a couple years older.
I've known her, since she was 5 too. But anyway, so Carrie, the mom, is going to be helping with hair backstage.
And Jaden's doing
sound and lights. Yeah, so he's been, popping in and he's been throwing sounds in just randomly, which is hilarious. But yeah, so it's kind of become, and Carrie, of course, is mother of my daughter-in-law, so
Right.
we're kind of related. So welcome.
It's a big family thing.
Another thing that happened because of theater, because that's how Patrick and Kayla Rose met. Wow, this is all tied to theater, isn't it? But anyway,
Rhode
so
Island.
there's a lot of people that are behind the scenes and helping, and then of course the entire board and all of the people who help with Academy at doing the tickets and the promotions, and then we got Ellery who's helping with social media.
Yeah.
So she's the social media maven for Academy.
Right.
This person over here is the social media. What's your title this week?
Today can be the social media savvy stylist.
Okay, let's go with that. She's handling it for Carmella. So, she's producing these things, she's doing other promotional things, and then she coordinates with Ellery, and Ellery, does it in the bigger sphere of Academy players. Just come see the show. What else can I say?
So many people put in so much love into it.
Really did, and continue to, and it grows every rehearsal. I know people are working like crazy. I get emails from people, Frank, have you thought about this? And it's like, this is great. I mean, it truly is, it's a collaboration. So a couple of my comic friends, Ace Aceto, Roman Pierce, are in this. So they're giving up potential income to do this, and I greatly appreciate that. Because they could be working both of those weekends, but they were both in the show last year and they both loved it. Great. So they're back. But Ace came up with a great idea for one of the scenes, which I'm not going to give away.
Yeah, we shouldn't say what it is, but he does a very spot-on impression of a very interesting
and it's great too
figure.
having him, because he is also an impressionist. And he just started doing it. I'm going, oh yes, that's staying. We have a thing that we do. Like if somebody does something that I like, it's 1, 2, 3, it's in. But then I also will say no.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's a collaboration. It really is. It's like, and it's great. I just love it that there are so many creative people. These are not just people that take something on a script and make it their own.
And I think it's easy with the Christmas Carol too, because everybody knows that story so well that we all know. Like, whereas some of the other Antony shows, you wrote it obviously, and it's written in a very specific way. Where A Christmas Carol is written a specific way, but as long as you're following the guidelines, you can really play around with what's in the middle.
I'm not worried about Dickens people coming after me.
Which is also why I think this is a great show. If anybody out there hasn't seen any of the Antony shows before, A Christmas Carmella is a really great gateway where you get to meet all of the characters in a setting that you already know the story, so now you can focus on the characters.
Yeah,
more than that.
The Great Benny story. Benny was created by Lynn Nadrowski, my good friend from so many shows that we did with North End Players and Miss Lynn's. She's one of the reasons that I got into acting. So
me too.
Thank Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Let's not talk about that. Where was I? So Lynn. So initially in my head, Benny was going to be a puppet.
Oh, okay.
So
which. Yeah, kind of is. Still,
yeah.
Puppet.
Yeah, but it was gonna be a puppet in a window, and when we did our first reading, Lynn, she created this voice like that sounds like I've been smoking for years. It wasn't that, but she did the voice, but she also had these faces that she was doing when she did it, and I said, Lynn, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put you in makeup and some sort of thing with antlers. You've got to do this. And she did. I mean, she did such a great job with it, and she also has stepped back from acting. So we handed the part over to Allie Fontaine, and Allie is doing it entirely differently, but
and she's still hilarious.
It's still Benny is just. I don't know if I could call her an iconic character. I guess I could. But it's great to see what different actors do with the same role.
Right.
Because they do. You make it yours. Like with Bobby, he's made Antony his.
Oh, yeah.
I know he says that this is how he grew up. Maybe he did. I don't know. But he really has embodied. Thank you, Rhode Island. Embodied.
Embodied.
And then Christina.
Yes.
Myers,
who is incredible.
Oh my God, she's the perfect Carmella Jr. And she's got such a range. I mean, she's another one. She's got an acting background.
Right.
Did she tell the story about how she came to join us?
Like, as in when she was a cameo first?
Yeah.
Yes, she did. She told that story.
And she just sent me an email. She said, I don't know if you remember me from, she had done some stuff at LaSalle. She went to LaSalle and then, I think Hofstra, right? But
yes.
I had seen her in something. I said, oh, no, that's great. I said, it happened to be the year we were doing, Carmella, A Christmas Carmella. And I said, I'd love to have you as a cameo if you want. And she joined us. She came for a rehearsal, which was really interesting. And then she read for a part because somebody was out. And I sat there and I looked at her and I said, oh my God, she's like off book. We handed her a script and she actually studied it before she went up. Who does that?
Christina.
Not me.
Christina does though.
And she was like half off book for the character. And I said, oh my God, this girl is great. And when it came time for a new Carmella Jr., I called her and I said, actually, she was going to be Carmella Sr.
Really?
Like in Bristol. And we couldn't find a Carmella Sr. No, we did. I'm sorry. We couldn't find one. It was going to be her. And then we ended up finding somebody in Bristol who played it amazingly well. And she became Carmella Jr. But oh my God, she's so good as Carmella Jr. Good. So these things happen.
I can just fade us out real nice.
Are you able to tell when they stop watching, like in the middle? Because I want to send those people emails.
That's what I wish I had, those kind of analytics. But I think you have to be a bigger social media savvy stylist, whatever I just called myself earlier, before you have those type of numbers.
So I mean, bottom line is come and see the show. And another element that we don't really talk about much is, but it's a fundraising performance.
Yes.
So the proceeds from the show after expenses are split with Academy and with Kerry's fund. And part of what Kerry's fund takes in also goes to Jesse's Dream for Jessica Morris, John's daughter, who Kerry and Jess together are the Heavenly Gingers. So
full circle.
Everything comes together, and it's all about that. We're not looking to make any money, but we're looking to raise funds. So come, and then you might win the Cardi's rocker recliner.
That's true.
Thanks, Cardi's.
Yay!
Like, sincerely, thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that recliner is really nice. You guys are gonna want to enter that raffle because we all fight over it when it's not being used to rehearsal because it's really comfy.
Michael actually fell asleep in it the other night.
It's very comfortable. Yeah. Tickets are already on sale, of course. As you know where to find them. They'll be in the description of this video, and you can check us out on our Facebook event page for any more updates about A Christmas Carmella. But we're opening pretty soon. By the time you see this, it'll be a couple weeks away, so make sure you get your tickets before they sell out. Thank you for joining us at Frank's Fireplace.
It was a great pleasure meeting you.
I know, it was great to meet you for the first time ever.
You there.
Bye, everybody!